Hey all, I'm gonna need you to give me a little bit of grace on my appearance because I put my head down at noon and I opened my eyes and it was 4 p.m. And I was like, I still have to film a video today. I have to get something done. I don't know what took over, but apparently I needed sleep. So I'm gonna be doing a full face of RMS today, but mainly focusing on the new foundation because RMS, for some context, they're in their sort of 2.0 phase. And I feel like the 2.0 products have very much supplanted, like we have enough of them at this point that they've very much supplanted kind of the old RMS in my mind. And so I can do like a full face of just the things that seem to be part of this like new version of it today and share my thoughts on them as we go. And I think that it's just a good idea to see how other products in a line work with a base product. So not a first impression. I actually have a lot of thoughts on this already. I have this in the shade Alabaster. It's called the SunCover Up Super Tint. It is a broad spectrum SPF 50. I'm assuming it is a mineral SPF 50. Yes. Zinc oxide 12% non-nano. So we're gonna put that on. We're gonna put on blushes, bronzers. I have the new lips. I don't know if y'all know this. I love this formula. So I got the new ones of this. They sent me 3. I don't have every single one of them, but I got the 3, you know, lightest ones and I think they're beautiful. And I will have final thoughts for y'all at the end, especially for the SunCover Up. So let's go ahead and jump in. Oh my Lord. Y'all, I literally, I don't know what happened. It was like I uploaded and I was like fighting it and fighting it and fighting it. I was fighting the nap, fighting the couch nap, you know? I'm actually gonna use a dewy primer. This is the Secure the Glow Tacky Hydrating Primer from One Size. I really like this stuff, but I'm doing it because I just slept for 4 hours in the middle of the day. What? Self-employment's awesome, let me tell you. But also because I've used this already, and I'll tell you, it's not especially dewy. I feel like it's gonna be accommodating to a lot of different skin types because if I can wear it, that means very, very dry skin people can get away with it, but also it's not at all like your sort of dewy, slippy skin tint that you might have in mind. Like it's not one of those kind of like throwaway, rush to the middle kind of formulas where you're like, yeah, I mean, it's good, but it feels like everything else I already have sort of thing. It has made decisions. It has a point of view. I feel like I'm having to sit up really straight. What did I do to my camera? Who wants to sit up straight? Not me. That's better. Hi, hello. Now I don't have to work as hard. Let's go ahead and put this on. I'm gonna take down the Ina Garden of it all here for the sake of not getting foundation on my shirt. But as a Southerner, I do reserve the right to pop my collar unironically at all times. I mean, as much as any of my life is actually fully unironic. So this retails for $49. It comes in 13 shades and Alabaster is the lightest one. And it's interesting because I do feel like the swatch online, even the little circle, is really accurate. I'm gonna show you why, okay? I think I would have to look. In fact, I will look. First foundation that came out as part of the 2.0 was the ReEvolve Natural Finish Foundation. I didn't know how the shades were arranged. I have it in 00, but they do have a 000 in this line. And I thought maybe they aligned because I might have gotten the one that is known to be more olive undertoned because this has this really fantastic little tiny bit of green in it, which is going to be such good news for my fair olives. Not like super, 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 not like pale, pale olives, but for just a fair olive, like Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca. You know, if you watch my Patreon, I mean, I talk about Rebecca all the time, but she has like basically my skin tone, except she's green, you know, olive undertone instead of a neutral undertone. And I can get away with it if it's a little bit green, you know, but it will kind of just look a little bit sick and pale on me, you know? It makes me look a little bit sallow because I am used to having so much golden pigmentation on my skin. I do have to work a little bit harder. So once you see this, I think I am gonna sort of like mix in a little bit of a like bronzing drop situation that has some red in it and just go in like over these areas to bring some life into it, not just in a bronzing sense, but also to match my skin tone a little bit better, match my undertone a little bit better, kind of like counterbalance the green. But I wanted to show it to y'all so you could get a good sense of it. I know that when I talk about undertones and stuff, especially when it's something like this that's just really subtle, I kind of sound crazy. You're looking at it and you're like, really, Khaki, where's the green? It's hard to see, but if you look at like that versus that, it's just, this is just a little greener and you can see it against my ear, you know? I mean, use your eyes, believe your eyes, use your judgment. All right, so I think I have this here, yes, Bronze 2 here in my Bronze and Protect from CL. I'm just gonna do the tiniest little bit of like a cocktail with the RMS. Really, this is kind of an experiment. I haven't done this yet, so I'm gonna mix that with the RMS like this and just make like a slightly more custom undertone match for like the bronzy parts of my face, you know? Yeah, I think that'll work. I mean, worst case scenario, it does nothing, you know? But I did wear it the last couple of days and I did notice like, it's a little green. You know, if I don't really compensate with bronzer, it's a little bit green on me, so. I do like the Bronze and Protect, but like you gotta be so careful if you're fair. It's just so, there's so much pigment. It is so concentrated. Like my friend Natalie, my skintress, she texted me, she was like, I can't put little enough of it on. I cannot put little enough of it on. That's better. To me, I know. That's why you're here. Is because my color theory eye is not normal, okay? Like, I obsess about things that like most people probably can't see at all. And I'm not like, oh, pick me. I'm just like, I know I'm annoying. I drive myself crazy. My friend texted me today and was like, what do you think about permanent makeup like on the lips? And I was like, I could never. And she was like, why? I said, because my eye is so sensitive to the undertones and the nuances in different colors. If I chose a color, I would be convinced one moment to the next that it was the right decision or the wrong decision for the rest of my life. It would be agonizing forever. I know because I do it about my nails. Like to pick a color that was going to stay on my face forever, there's no worse nightmare to me. Absolutely not. So anyway, that is without any concealer. They do have their concealer. I wouldn't be surprised if they come out with a concealer next as part of RMS 2.0, which is what is my name for it. But it is the SunCover Up, which is like their original concealer. And I'm not gonna use that today because it's a cream in a pot and it does not dry down. And this is so sophisticated. I'm not saying like one is inferior and one is superior. They're just different formula types. One is like a very like no makeup appearance kind of product. The SunCover Up, it's meant to kind of be put on with your fingers, warms to your skin kind of thing. Old RMS 1.0. This is very much a high-tech makeup formula that feels locked in, and I don't really want to like smear something kind of creamy on top of it because it's very emollient. And so we're gonna go with a liquid concealer. I do want to go with something kind of hydrating though. I feel like the Jouer is gonna be too you know. Enter, my love, the Prism Libre from Givenchy. I haven't used this in a while, but that's because I've been more concerned about coverage than hydration. And now that my skin is clear, knock on wood, I am more concerned about hydration than coverage. So that is a luxury. And I appreciate that. So we're gonna do a little bit of this. But yeah, that complexion is looking fantastic. I really like it. It's very, very pretty. But you see, I put on, granted, the hydrating primer from One Size still has like tackiness to it. It's in the name. And it adds to the long wearingness. It's not just kind of this slippy layer that you put on to make your skin more hydrated. And so it is going to not really work against the performance of the foundation, but also you can see that like I could very much afford to put on something hydrating underneath it because it is not in and of itself a super emollient or dewy formula. It's very much just like a lightweight foundation, like an SPF based lightweight foundation. And about the shade range, you know, now that I've used this one, I understand, you know, it is quite mineral rich. So again, it will remain to be seen on other folks who this really works for. I would really like to see this RMS 2.0 do an even better job. You know, I think that the formulations are so sophisticated, but they need to do a better job with their shade ranges. Like their shade ranges used to be abysmal and now like they're not good, but like they're mid. And I'd like to see them really just like hit it out of the park. Okay. So there we have the Givenchy of it all. I feel like that's really lovely. Like that just looks really lovely. It looks really natural. Everything looks very even and balanced. And even though it's medium coverage and not dewy, my freckles are not showing through in a really unflattering color. I think that might be because of the bronzer, like the bronzing drops that I used, but even here, I feel like it's not showing in kind of that gray thing that happens sometimes. I don't know why that happens sometimes and not others. I want to say this is silicone free. Check me on that, future Tacky. This is in fact silicone free. Either way, I'm not a chemist. I just know that like my freckles are still showing up like true. They're showing up warm the way that they're supposed to. I like that. I appreciate that. We have powder, blushes, and bronzers. So I am going to start actually by powdering a little bit. Who is she? That's not true. I'm gonna do some contour real quick. I'm gonna just do the Dior one here. Y'all, I have the most breakneck travel schedule coming up. It's Wednesday right now. And Friday morning, me and my kid get on a plane and we go see my mom in Florida. I saw a sign at his preschool that said that they were gonna be closed the Friday before Labor Day and the Monday of Labor Day. And I was like, no, we're not just sitting around the house for 4 days. No. I was like, we're gonna go see my mom. And of course my mother is thrilled. You know, she's got 16.5 acres in North Florida. We just have ourselves a blast. I drink Corona. It's a good time, okay? I like never drink beer. Although my boyfriend and I went to Hooters for the first time when I was visiting. Y'all, not only did I, as soon as I sat down, I was like, what do I want to drink? Corona. You will probably Mexican beer for my cold dead hands, but also Hooters is unironically very good. We tried a bunch of the sauces and I have to say 3 Mile is what it's called, and it's I think like the 3rd spiciest. Holy crap, give it to me in a vat. It's the most delicious thing I've ever tasted. It's like crack. It's just this hot sauce that has so much flavor. I'm like, unironically, we are going to go back to Hooters. That was the first time in my life I've ever been to Hooters, and the waitresses were lovely. They were lovely. Anyway, oh boy, that's scented. I'm going to Florida, and then when I come back, I immediately turn around the next morning and take a train into the city because it's Fashion Week, and my sister is kind of a big deal. She would hate it if I said that. She'd be like, God, Tacky, shut up. But she is kind of a big deal in the whole fashion space in New York City. And so she's hosting the Shop My Shelf event. So I'm going to that, and she has fully Cinderella'd me with like because you know, I get free makeup. I do not get free fashion. And she's friends with all these people who, you know, like close friends, real friends with these people who have all of these fashion brands, like, you know, Dorsey, like, you know, this is her good friend Meg and stuff like that. So I have like all of this like outfit waiting for me. And then I'm gonna go get a blowout from Jennifer Lawrence's hairstylist. My sister would kill me if she saw this right now. She'd be like, God, Tacky, you're so uncool. Like, be cool about this. I'm like, no, you're friends with Jennifer Lawrence. Like, that's cool. I don't know. I was like, I'm gonna still be a civilian over here and be like, that's cool. That's a cool thing. But anyway, then the next Friday after that is me and my boyfriend's 1-year freaking anniversary. What? And so I'm staying in the city. He doesn't get in until Friday, but I'm staying in the city Thursday because I'm just gonna go to the hotel and decompress all by myself. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna do as little as possible. And then, yeah, we have our anniversary the next day, and that's going to be lovely. And then I'm gonna put on some powder. And then I do love this RMS powder. Immediately on Saturday, he has work to do. I think he's in the city for work. And so he will go to work. I will head back to New Jersey, get in my car, and drive directly to Washington, DC for Miss Natalie's wedding. So I'm not just attending, I'm doing her makeup. It's gonna be amazing. And I know because when I got married, by the time the actual day came, I was so exhausted. I'm literally just going to probably like spend the first like half of the time that I'm there just like holding her. She's a very cuddly person and I really enjoy that. So I think we're probably just going to, you know, try and decompress together a little bit. And yeah, and then she has her wedding and then I come home, and I mean, it's literally like a week and a half that I'm not home, and I am doing so much in that time period, and all of it just kind of happened to happen all at once. I can't control when Fashion Week is. I can't control when my anniversary is. I can't control when Natalie's wedding is. I can't control when Labor Day is. And so like, here I am like, when am I gonna work? So yeah, sleeping for 4 hours today was not in the plan, okay? Like, I have so much new stuff. I have the new Natasha Denona. I have all the stuff I talked to y'all about in the last video. I have the new Patrick Ta just got here today. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot of really amazing stuff. And I'm just like, when am I going to actually find time to film it in the next week and a half? I don't. No. So I literally have like today and tomorrow, and I have to like think about packing. Let's start with some RMS bronzer. We've got Beach Walk Betty, and I'm trying to remember which one I prefer here. Beach Walk Betty is the more rosy one. I have a feeling we're gonna end up with a pink face if I go that direction. So I'm going to go Tan Lines, because I think it's got a little more golden to it, just a little bit. Maybe even a little more red, which could help. Yeah, it's got a lot more red. And you know me, maybe I'll end up using both. Who knows? Who knows? Not me. How nice. And how lame are me and my boyfriend being? We're probably definitely going to, I mean, for dinner, I don't know what we're doing. It's a surprise. But for lunch, we're gonna go to the same place that we had our first date, and we're gonna wear the same outfits. Because it was the best first date ever! So we're just like reliving it. I don't know. We're dorks. It's fun to be dorks together. To be cringe is to be free. Oh my gosh. So, there's some bronzer. God, that's freaking pretty. I think I've kind of like, you know, refrained from talking about this as much because it was such a small shade range. I think there's like 4 shades in this. It's not ideal. It's not ideal, but it is really pretty. And that's unfortunate. Let us all put it out into the universe or just gripe at them, right? Like these formulas, it's kind of like hourglass. Like how big do you have to get before you start taking seriously your responsibility to cater to every skin tone? RMS. Rosemary Swift. I know she's not really at the helm anymore, which is good. I said what I said. Okay, blush. Y'all, I had to put them down here because I finally completed my collection of all the RMS blushes. I love them so much. I think maybe I have gotten 4 of these in PR, and the rest of them I have bought with my own money because I love them. And then one of them I misplaced and Rebecca just sent me hers because she's adorable. So it really takes a village. Where to begin? You know, I just wish that they would make like a collector's container so that I could pull all of the pans, the replaceable pans out of here, and have them in one giant one because it's not magnetic. I'm tempted to just swatch all these real quick for y'all. Even though that's so annoying to edit, it might be helpful for y'all to see. Starting with Hanky Panky here. Ooh, this is such a lovely formula. It looks like it's gonna be so sparkly on the skin, but it's not. This one has the most shift out of all of them. And it's so freaking pretty. So that's Hanky Panky. Then we have Sangria. You can see this one's new to me. I was expecting it to be different, like a wine, much more of a wine color. But no, it's that perfect in-between sunburn rust color. Get freaking real. Oh my gosh. Wow, 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 wow. So gorgeous. Then we have Pomegranate Fizz. This again is one of the newer ones to me. My most recent pickups, right? Pomegranate Fizz is this gorgeous rich pink. No real shift on these. This one's got a blue shift on it, but the rest just have a nice like blur. I'm just gonna leave you with that collection of syllables and hope you know what I'm talking about. That's all I got for you today. All right, Kir Royale. We all love a Kir Royale. If you don't know what a Kir Royale is, I think it's cassis liqueur mixed with champagne. It's one of Ina Garden's favorite. I'm gonna flip my collar back up in honor of her. One of her favorite drinks, and that is the only reason I know what it is. I've never had one. So that's that. It's a little bit cooler. Then we have Bermuda Rose, and it is a cool, like a very cool pink. And then we get even further into the pinks here with French Rosé, another favorite thing of mine. And that one is like kind of Barbie pink. It's got a kind of a bright shift on it, you know, like a bright iridescence to it. Okay, then we have Bohemian Girl. Where the hell is Mai Tai? That's what's missing. Oh, where is she? Oh, that's important. She's somewhere. Because Mai Tai's my favorite. Roy Kent. This is, again, Bohemian Girl. Getting a little bit more coral there, a little tiny bit peachier. It's hard to see with the light reflecting on it. There we go. We have 2 more here. This is Maiden's Blush. Maiden's Blush and Crystal Slipper are both the sort of like brownie beiges that are just so delicious. And you can see I have loved them both, you know, to the point that the embossing is almost gone. So this is, like I said, Maiden's Blush. Oh my freaking God, are you kidding me with Maiden's Blush? Like that's everything that Fenty was going for and didn't get there. Where is that thing? Y'all, I'm in the weeds. Uh-oh. Hello from the weeds. Wish you were here. There we go. I'm gonna put it on the other hand so that it's not like next to it, but I really feel like Maiden's Blush is what Sundress Season was going for, and Maiden's Blush got there better. And if that's not the case, then let's do Crystal Slipper here, and that one might be even more effective. Yes, I think Crystal Slipper is even more like it. See? This being Crystal Slipper. I just think Crystal Slipper is less ashy, okay? I'm gonna call them like I see them. So I'm gonna pause the video and I'm going to find Mai Tai because that's very important. Okay, that only took about 2 seconds because it was in my blush drawer. Shockingly. Mai Tai. Mai Tai, besides the kind of brown beige ones, is my favorite. These three are my most used ones. I think you can probably tell why. Oh my God, I love them so much. They're so freaking pretty. Okay, so I think that we're gonna go Crystal Slipper, and I'll go Crystal Slipper, and then we'll put the lip on, and then we'll make a decision. I'm glad that y'all could really like hold my hand through that. I love that. I'll do that sometimes with my mom. I'll be texting her. She just got, I'm telling everybody's lives right now, nothing consequential, but my mom just got cataract surgery, and she's just so conscious about her under eyes, you know, now that she doesn't have her glasses sort of like obscuring that anymore. And so I was texting her, I was like, what do you want for your birthday? And then I was like, oh, I should just get you, because she had just asked me about that Peter Thomas Roth, like the temporary kind of like lifting product or whatever. And I was like, oh, I'll get you that. And I was like, wait, I'm just gonna get you a bunch of stuff for your under eyes. And then we can, like, you know, ice treatments and things like that. And I was like, and then when I'm there visiting, we can just try them. Like, and she never replied to any of that. That was just me like processing out loud to her. And then I was like, thank you for helping me workshop this. And like an hour later, she's like, you're welcome. So that package arrived today for her. God, is that not freaking gorgeous? Are you kidding me? The way that that formula goes on, like, where is the line of demarcation? There isn't one. The way that it just blurs itself is stupid. It's stupid. You could just keep putting this stuff on. I love it on the level that I loved the Pat McGrath blushes when they came out, because that same thing where it builds slowly but effectively, and the way that it builds is so seamless. I never feel like I'm working against it. It's just lovely. It's lovely. Like, you look at Mai Tai and you're like, yikes! Like, you see it in the pan and you're like, that's gonna be crazy. And it just goes on so pleasantly. It's so easy to use. And that is the basis on which I rank most things. Is it beautiful and fun, and is it easy? And they are. I'm gonna wipe the swatches off. My new thing of makeup wipes is downstairs. Hang on. All right, Honest Beauty, let's see. Let's see. Honest Beauty sent me a bunch of stuff, and in there were their makeup wipes. So let's see what we think. Come on, Jessica Alba. That functions just fine. Doesn't really smell like anything. Lovely. And I'm not usually a makeup wipes person in my real life because I don't like the action of wiping my face, but for my job it is quite helpful. Okay, so if you're unfamiliar with this formula, let me describe it to you really quickly as I open the last one. This is a lipstick that is very highly pigmented. It is the ideal like French girl lip for me, like Mickey, this original shade from the first release. This is my best red, even though it is not red. And if you haven't watched that video, go watch it, because watching that transform into red on my skin fascinates even me on replay. When they go on, yes, they're a beautiful, like full saturation, creamy lipstick that you can, you know, wear blotted or whatever. Like, it's a very sophisticated formula, but then it has this like wet layer on top that is so delicious. Like, it's got this wonderful, not literally physically delicious, but like it has this really awesome like water feeling on the top of it. Who doesn't want that? So this one I haven't even used yet. The only thing that's weird is that you have to turn like this. It turns the entire component when you do it. It's very strange. Anyway, this here is Eve. So the first release was very pink, and I didn't love most of the shades, and Mickey was the one that really knocked my socks off. And so this shade expansion for me is really awesome because it's like they said, okay, yeah, people want beige, let's give them some kind of like in-betweeny, difficult to describe kinds of colors. And these all do look very light, but there are deeper ones. Oh, that's the one. That was Jane. That's the one. There are deeper ones, I just don't have them. I didn't get the entire line. So that's Mickey, Eve, May, and Jane. And they smell like vanilla. Oh, yum, yum, yum. Okay, so I think we know what we're doing here. I'm gonna put on Jane. Love. Now, this is that like, it's borderline caramel colored, so it's almost trying to be too orange on me. But what that does is you kind of reframe it. You can channel it towards coral. And maybe that's just wishful thinking because I want to put on Mai Tai, but I'm putting on Mai Tai and you can't stop me because by the time you've seen this, it already happened. Oh, it just feels so nice. You saw how easily that went on, and all the components are the same colors as what's inside, which, you know, when a company has the budget to do it and they do it, I'm very appreciative of that. The new Victoria Beckham ones, just the logo is in the color of what's inside the tube, which I do love, although I will spoil this for you right now. I didn't know this, they sent them to me. All but the clear is pH color adjusting. Y'all know how I feel about pH color adjusting things. Look at this fucking lipstick. So I'm gonna use a smaller brush here, 96 from Sephora, and we're just gonna Mai Tai it a little bit here. Ooh, she's so pretty. So pretty. Ooh, ooh, ooh. We might have to go a little pinker on the lip. I think that the lip is actually kind of like pulling the whole average down because it's like a little bit too orange for this look. I could have just gone like with more crystal slipper, but I feel like it just would have ended up all beige. Let's try a different lip. I mean, you know, you always benefit from seeing more than one, right? Let's see what May looks like. That's nice. That's really nice. My mother would call this Here Comes Khakis Lips because it's just very lips forward, but this blots really beautifully. I'll blot it in a minute though, because I just like the water feel of it. I just want to feel that for a minute. Okay, and then we have this highlighter. I want to put a little bit of that on. I have been a little less impressed by this because it was hard to pick it up on a brush, but I think it's all right. It's okay. Not my favorite thing, you know. It's just kind of not really there, in my opinion. Not a run, do not walk situation. Now, here we have the Eyelights. I believe that I saw my sister use the pink one as a blush, and it was pretty incredible because these things last like crazy. I'm not a huge fan of all the shades. Like, the shades are kind of funky. There's like green and purple, you know, like, eh. So I just have the lightest one here, Moondust, and it's just a really pretty champagne. And that's what I'm gonna put on my eyeballs, especially because we have so much else going on. I think that this is a good little foundation. I might put more of something else on, but I just wanna start with this and see where it gets us. This was my intro. This was the first release of RMS 2.0, and I was in a store that is now closed called Shen in Brooklyn with Ingrid. And we were like, oh, these are going to be terrible. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, these are just gonna be goo, because that's what we're used to getting from RMS, is just kind of like things that look pretty but just aren't very high tech and whatever. And then they dried down and they like didn't move on the back of my hand afterwards, and I was like, whoa, what is this new RMS that we are dealing with, you know? So they had my attention at that point. I think that I shall use the blushes and the bronzers to finish out my eye look, brows, what have you, and then we will come back and I will kind of give y'all some thoughts. I'm gonna also go into detail on what we're supposed to be like expecting from this foundation. like what we came up with. I really think that like these lips are not meant to be combined with this much other makeup on my face at one time. It's more just that I wanted to show it to you because these are my best like French girl red lip, you know, like saturated lip colors. And typically I would wear them, I'll show you. I guess the only one that I have here is Eve. Let's try Eve. So the way that I would actually like wear this in my everyday, the French girl way, right? You know, you take your finger and you just kind of, like you put on a little bit and then you just sort of like feather it. And I would probably, wow, that's pink. Holy crap, that's pink. Wow, that does not look like it's gonna be that pink. I don't think that this is the best example. Woo, whoa, 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 wow, it's kind of neon on me. Isn't that wild? Okay, well, that's not my shade, okay? So Eve is not my shade. Where is that makeup wipe? I'm going to apply a different one. I'm gonna go back to May. May is the one that I'm going to put on. I'm gonna do it kind of how I would typically do it. And yeah, it's very similar to my lip color. And just kind of feather it on because it really does well in that context, you know, just being this beautiful blurry lip at any coverage level. See, and that's just so much easier, but at the same time, were I to do that on an everyday basis, I would have skipped the eyeshadow. I've learned better. Anyway, I like that a lot better. It's like a lot less. It's just a lot less. My lips can really take over. I do have lip filler, but even without that, it's like my eyes are so small. So anyway, and I have such a low contrast complexion. So anyway, that's so much better. I like that a lot. Let's visit the foundation here real quick, the SunCover Up, and see what the claims are, and then that will help me assess whether I think that, you know, this matches that. So they're calling it a tinted moisturizer. I mean, that doesn't necessarily say anything about the finish, but it is interesting because it's like, I don't really think of it as a moisturizer. It behaves like a foundation. What it does, this long-wearing skin-loving multitasker, it is long-wearing, hydrates skin, protects from the sun's damaging rays, as well as defends against blue light with non-nano zinc oxide, provides lightweight, breathable coverage that effortlessly evens skin tone for a naturally radiant complexion. I'm gonna go ahead and say, like, I don't think that this is like a radiant finish. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And it's lightweight enough that it can tolerate powder on me without like soaking it up and like getting really dry, which is nice. But like on its own, for dry skinned folks, this is not a dewy hydrating, we didn't say dewy, but it's not a hydrating moisturizing product. Powered by Glowplex. TM. To smooth, firm, and brighten well, moisture-rich vegetable squalane. Squalane's hard for dry-skinned people. Squalane just doesn't seem to like go into my skin. It just sits there. So like that was, I want to say, the base, like the first ingredient in the like 3-drop foundation that Westman Atelier came out with, and a lot of oily skin folks just rejoiced. They loved it, but I was like, why does it just sit on my skin? And that's what squalane just does on my skin. It just like sits there. It doesn't do squat. So that might be why I'm not getting moisture from it, is because my skin just doesn't really seem to like take the currency of squalane. Bisabolol soothes, and our proprietary RMS adaptogenic herbal blend balances. Sure. This superior formula protects your skin from the sun, provides a radiant, even toned complexion, and hydrates all day long. Listen, it's beautiful. If I weren't wearing powder with it, it would be probably a little more radiant, but we are not talking about something that feels like skincare, okay? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, I do dissent slightly from their description because this is very much a product that behaves like a foundation. I really like it. I like it a lot. It is very like natural. Like I would call it like very skin-like. It looks so much like skin that but it's not giving skincare. Like I would apply it with other skin. I would apply it with another sunscreen for starters, but other skincare, like if you're a dry skinned person, but like look how even, and look how well it goes with all of the other RMS products. Okay. I do really, really like it. I should compare it really quickly to the first foundation. This has coverage and it is not claiming to be a tinted moisturizer. It is claiming to be a foundation. Ooh, okay, so my shade 00 is a little bit darker than Alabaster, but still has that kind of green to it. This being Alabaster, this is what I'm wearing right now. Let's back away. Wow, God. That makes it look so light. So light. So, you know, bear that in mind. Alabaster is the lightest shade, so it might be more similar to 000 in the whatever the hell it's called, Evolve. And You can also see that like for, I mean, gosh, the same amount of product on the skin, which is very little, like that's the coverage difference. You can see so much of my skin through this, and this is so much higher coverage, but they really have similar finishes. It's just like a natural. And I feel like the thing that that does well is it wears without powder very well. They both have technology to them that sets down. And I think that that is almost just like one giant ongoing apology for the behavior of the SunCoverup Up foundation that they put out before the kind of rebrand, because that was one of the worst foundations I have ever used, and it refused to dry down. It was like if someone took the Jones Road What the Foundation and just made it bad. Like, I like the What the Foundation for what it is, but it was like, that's not what they were going for. They kind of stumbled into it in the RMS case. And it didn't behave like makeup. It was like someone had suspended too much tint in a very heavy moisturizer. It was awful. It was so heavy. It was so heavy. It was bananas. So anyway, I feel like these being so incredibly lightweight and so high tech in the way that they wear, they're both really long wearing and really beautiful, like very perfecting. Now you just have two options, you know? You have I mean, you know, if you're in their shade range, you have two options. This is almost, you could probably almost get full coverage from it, and this is solid medium coverage. Probably wear less of it if you get a really good shade match, but I mean, I love it. I really, really like it. It makes me feel really confident because it's so perfecting on the skin. The way that the blush blurs, the blush and the bronzer blur on the skin is also making me feel really confident. But even before I put any color cosmetics on, and I just had my complexion on, I already felt so confident because it looks so perfected and improved, but it still looks like my skin, you know? It doesn't look like, okay, now draw your features back on. But it also didn't look molten, and it didn't feel molten. It didn't feel like, uh-oh, now what do I do? Or this is gonna like slip all over my face for the rest of the day. It behaves in this really, again, high-tech, like sophisticated cosmetic kind of way that makes it really hard to believe that there's no silicone in it. That's actually bananas. Like, I don't care. Things that don't have silicone in them sometimes don't perform, is what I'm saying, regardless of the price point, and this performs. So as for the rest of the products, you know, the blushes, I mean, God, like, you know, I'm their biggest fan. I might be their biggest fan on the internet. And the bronzer is the same way. Again, terrible shade range, but the formula is quite lovely. These lip colors, I think, are a freaking revelation. It's made it so that it's easy for me to wear saturated lip color. They're so easy to use and they're so comfortable. I don't know why nobody's ever done this before. Made something that looks like this but has that hydration layer on the top, so someone like me who needs moisture doesn't have to choose. You know, I don't have to choose, oh, I want the matte look, but I want the comfort, because like it never ends up being comfortable. Like, this is actually comfortable to wear. The eyelights, you know what I mean? They're beautiful, they wear a long time. If you find the color that you like, God bless you. You know what I mean? Fantastic, but like, I don't recommend them above other things. I think that they're lovely, but they're not like the most remarkable thing in that category out there on the market. And the powder, I mean, I don't have the new Givenchy. I don't have it because it isn't out yet and I'm not on the PR list, but people have been asking me to like give dupes for the old one because you're not gonna be able to get the old one anymore. And honestly, I mean, obviously this is not doing anything in the way of like that color correction or whatever, but I mean, you saw it go on. It has that same kind of awesome blurring loose powder thing where it looks like it's gonna be a lot and then it just kind of disappears into your skin. That's just kind of my opinion. I'm not calling it a first impression, but I don't know this powder intimately yet. I've only had it for a few weeks, but like, I really, really like it. You saw me apply it to my whole face and I'm not crepey looking, you know? It's just good stuff. And that's also one massive apology for their old powder, which was cornstarch. I don't know what it actually was, but it was cornstarch. It went on like cornstarch. So anyway, I hope this was helpful for y'all. I love this makeup look. I think it looks really, really nice now that I kind of, you know, muted the lip down a little bit. We can really see everything. But yeah, oh, I cheated and I went in with a little bit of the new Natasha Denona palette to like finish the eye look out. So that'll be soon. I'll give you all a review of that soon. If you liked this, please give the video a thumbs up. I'll link everything down below. If you're new here and this was fun for you, this is a lot of what we do on this channel. That, color theory, we do some commentary every once in a while. It depends on what kind of mood I'm in, but it is always fun. And it is, I always try and make it valuable. So if that sounds good to you, please subscribe while you are here. I love y'all so very, very much. I'll put a video up here that I think you'll enjoy if you liked this one, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye!